Good morning. Let's talk about partisanship. And is it really good for us? I wonder, if you're a staunch Republican, do you only listen to what the GOP has to say? And if you're a staunch Democrat, do you only listen to what they have to say? Seems to me what divides us is not what really affects our lives, but what the politicians say affects our lives and which politician you believe in when there are real problems that confront us. One of my friends, a staunch Democrat, said, "You've got to listen to what Donald Trump says about child care." So I listened. The interesting thing is, he dismissed child care. He was more interested in promoting tariffs. Tariffs on imports. Well, you gotta wonder, what are tariffs going to do for the country? It will raise our inflation rate. It will raise the prices on all of our products. How will it do that? Well, almost every product we make in this country, and even some of our food, is imported. Now you're going to put a heavy tariff and take, as he says, trillions of dollars into the country. Well, if we have to do that, and since we don't make every product 100% in our country, what's going to happen to pricing and inflation and the national debt? They're all going up. Did he answer the question on child care? No, he didn't. Not even a little, because he said the amount to fund child care is insignificant to the money you will make on tariffs. Well, that to me is bad economics. It's just like the economics of mass deportations. It's not so easy to deport people in a realistic manner. First, you got to get countries to take them. And then, what do we do with the people who have seamlessly disappeared into our economy and are working at jobs? This is not policies for us to go by. Doesn't matter if you're a staunch Republican or a staunch Democrat, the policy doesn't work. According to Foreign Affairs magazine, and the very first article on it by Condoleezza Rice, she says why we can't be an isolationist. And the last time I looked, Condoleezza Rice had been a Republican. Sure, she's been head of Stanford University now for quite some time, but she's a literate lady, and she knows what she's talking about. Tariffs don't do us any good. When you look back at the founding fathers, like Hamilton, he believed in free trade. He believed in entrepreneurship and the corporations. He also believed in nationalism. And nationalism is what's missing from this partisan equation. When we think parties and silos of information, we're not thinking about how to draw my hand across the continent and link hands with others, because we're all part of the United States of America. And that's really what I want. And I think that's what most of us signed up for. All of our parents who came here and our grandparents, they came here for the American dream. The dream that we would all have a job, we'd have a home, and we'd have money to put food on our table, and eventually we'd work our way up the economic ladder, and we would be solid middle or middle upper class people. That dream is ended, but it's not ended because women have more rights. No. Or the corporations aren't making a profit. No. It's ended because prices are too darn high, and they are indeed fixed. When you look at rental units, and probably a good 80 to 90% are owned by Schwartzman and his hedge fund, and you look at RealPage, every landlord in the country has signed up to RealPage. They put in all the data of how much they're charging renters. RealPage looks at all that data and then comes up with its algorithm and says, wow, you can be making 7% more. So what do? They raise the prices. All the landlords. And since 90% of the landlords are on RealPage, this is just like 8 of us getting together, separate landlords, and price fixing, or 4 of us getting together and price fixing. It's no different. And RealPage is now being brought up on charges for price fixing. And the landlords should also be brought up on charges and suffer severe consequences for price fixing, if not jail time, because it goes against, I think, the RICO laws. And you want to know why people are in the streets? It's because the rents are too darn high. As I've said before, in California, it's not that people are deadbeats or they're immigrants. They're elderly people who have 24 hours or maybe 2 weeks to get out of an apartment. Where are they going to go? But you don't hear about that when all you're talking about is, what did she say or what did he say? You don't hear about the fact that Phoenix, last year it had 90 days over 90 degrees. Well, it broke that record. This year, it's got 100 days over 100 degrees. We gotta look at our lifestyle, folks. And being partisan doesn't let us do that. No. It makes us look at personalities and not policy. And policy is what drives our nation. Policies make up whether or not the federal government works for you and I, or it works for cronies, and it takes away the rights of the consumer. Can we make policy to have affordable childcare? We tried, and it was voted down. Have other countries done it? You bet. Childcare is not more than 10% of anyone's salary. And you can drop a child off in some of the Scandinavian countries at 6 months of age. And you pick them up at 6 o'clock at night. That is worthwhile. That's something we need in this country. Because with adequate childcare and adequate food, that's how children learn. And that's how they become socialized. And that's how they become nationalistic. No more 50 fiefdoms, but nationalism is what we want. Sure, we want to promote corporations, but not so they're so skinny that you got vermin on the floors of Boar's Head, and you won't have baby formula again this year. So think about it. One of the reasons I'm a nonpartisan is because I like to think about the issues. To me, the issues far outweigh the personalities.